Guys, it's time to have a rant about the car park charges at airports in this country. It's ridiculous.
And feeling like you are just being ripped off every day of the week. No matter where you go, what you do, everything just feels like a rip-off.
The sixth largest economy, one of the richest countries in the world, cost 7 times more than flying from Berlin to Manchester. I mean, like...
Oh my days, will you just look at this? I saw this on another platform. These are the average energy prices across Europe. Look like annual prices.
Welcome back to Scroll Through Britain, where we dig into the everyday ripoffs that are draining our wallets. From sky-high train fares to overpriced groceries and endless hidden charges, life in Britain is starting to feel unaffordable at every turn. What used to be normal living now feels like survival spending. Today we're exposing the ripoffs that are making life in Britain unaffordable. If you're fed up with being squeezed from every side, hit subscribe because this is only getting worse. Airport drop-off charges are becoming one of the UK's biggest everyday ripoffs. This clip sums up how outrageous it's getting.
Guys, it's time to have a rant about the car park charges at airports in this country. It's ridiculous. Last week I took my son to Gatwick. I dropped him off. £7 for being there for like 5 minutes. And if you don't pay the £7 within the following day midnight, that fee jumps up to £60. Ridiculous. If you don't pay that within 14 days, it jumps up to like £100. Crazy. Yesterday I took my other son to Heathrow Airport. I was there for 45 minutes, got charged £11.50 for what? That's ridiculous. In this country, in the UK, we've stripped the country of its assets and sold them to foreign entities for them to try and attract their investors decent rates of return, and in the end it's the British people who are getting screwed over by it. The whole thing is ridiculous. So not very happy about this, and it's getting to a point now where people are pretty much fed up, and if anyone's got any sense, they will pack up their bags and move to places which are, where people are treated fairly financially rather than being screwed over in this country, left, right and centre, taxes, utilities, you name it, the list goes on.
Here's another classic British ripoff: estate agents piling on pointless fees for checks you have already done. Listen to this rant. It will sound familiar if you have ever tried to sell a house here.
What is it about living in Britain and feeling like you are just being ripped off every day of the week? No matter where you go, what you do, everything just feels like a rip-off. At every stage, someone's trying to make money out of you in some respect. So I've got a house on the market with an estate agent. It was on with the same agent a few months ago. The sale fell through. It's back on with them again now. Money laundering checks were carried out last year. I made it quite clear that I don't need a third-party agency to do the checks. I know that what I need to provide to you, I can bring in, and that will be sufficient. They accepted that. Contacted me again today to say the checks have expired. I'm like, right, so what's expired? My identity or the checks on that? Fair enough, yeah, but I'm not willing to pay. No, we've got new policies in place now. No, you haven't got new policies in place. You've got a new third-party company which is making money off of pointless checks, which can be done manually. So I said to the guy, I said, mate, I'm not paying again. I told you this last year. I can bring in this documentation, which is sufficient. You took last year, yeah? And that's who we're getting. Either you lose my house on the market or you don't charge me. Waited on hold, obviously. Came back. Okay. Yeah, we'll do it the same way that we did before, yeah? And we're not going to charge you. I'm like, come on. Sort this out. Honestly, something's got to change.
Train prices in Britain are one of the biggest ripoffs of all. Just listen to this. It can cost more to go from London to Manchester by train than it does to fly across Europe.
When people say the UK is falling apart, this is what they mean. So today, my startup Yasso had a huge meeting in Manchester with a clean beauty brand that we're looking to launch in China on our solution. That's not the point. The point is, it cost us £150 per person to travel from London to Manchester. My one co-founder is actually based in Berlin. His flight return from Berlin to Manchester only cost him £20. To travel 2 hours by train in the UK, the sixth largest economy, one of the richest countries in the world, cost 7 times more than flying from Berlin to Manchester. I mean, like, I'm actually lost for words. Fortunately, we're doing okay, we can afford that. But for other businesses, if they're looking to travel around the UK for meetings, it's impossible to do. And now I know with Zoom and remote working, you don't need to travel anymore. But maybe occasionally you do. Maybe people need that face-to-face. And this country makes it almost impossible to do that. Now, we're based in London. Most of the business happens down here. But what if you're a startup in Manchester or Leeds or Birmingham and you need to travel down to London to meet VCs for your investment committee for a big investor meeting? You just can't afford to do it. That's why so many businesses in the north aren't getting funded. That's why there's such a split between London and the rest of the country, because it costs 7 times more to go from London to Manchester on the train than it does to fly from Berlin to Manchester. Like, this is a joke.
It's not just travel and housing. Even basic medicine in Britain is turning into a ripoff. Just listen to how much this person paid for something they actually needed.
Good evening. Anyone else totally fed up of being ripped off in this country? Because I know that I certainly am. So it's probably a bit TMI, but I know that myself and probably 50% of the population, probably a bit more, have IBS and stomach issues. And I've run out of supplies today, so I had to rush out quickly and get some. Anyway, I went to a chemist, not an expensive shop, a chemist, and they didn't have the cheaper brand of what I wanted, as they usually do, but I thought it's fine, it'll be a bit more expensive, so I'll just get them. Please tell me why these two here cost me £15.50. £15.50 for that. Like, honestly, I'm so fed up of being ripped off in this country. Absolutely takes the piss. How on earth can they charge that much for those? Like, it's not even like it's a nice to have. It's not like a vitamin or something like that. It's like, I need that sort of medication and you're charging people £15.50 for 2 packets of it. Like, absolutely mad. So over it. Anyone else having the same problems with things like that sort of medication? I normally go for cheaper ones. But I won't be buying those ones again because that is just so extortionate.
Energy bills in the UK are among the highest in Europe, and this clip explains exactly why it feels like we're being ripped off. Even when wholesale prices drop, consumers still pay through the nose.
Oh my days. Will you just look at this? I saw this on another platform. These are the average energy prices across Europe. Look like annual prices. So bottom of the list, we have Poland at 174 euros, average energy prices. Finland, 476 euros. Norway, 543 euros. Austria, 545. Holland, 546. Denmark, 558. All the way up to France, 650 euros per annum. The UK, would you look at that? £2,585 average energy price in the UK. Next, what I'm going to show you next is going to shock you. Watch this. Here is a current chart of the UK natural gas cost, okay? The natural gas wholesale cost, and that's Great British pounds per therm. You can see that going back at the bottom of the chart there, this is the wholesale gas prices, right? Back in 2020 was well below £100 per therm like this. And then you can see towards the beginning of 2022, this is where conflict and sanctions and all of this kind of stuff, there were huge spikes in these wholesale prices. Around 2022, before it came to 2023, then the prices started to plummet again. The current prices of wholesale gas in the UK is back well below £100 a therm, £63 per therm, okay? Almost back to what it was before the whole sanctions and all the rest of it. So you tell me why every other country across the whole of Europe's prices are back down pretty much to where they were, and the UK's prices are still at £2,585 a year for energy.
We are being ripped off by the supermarkets. Worth as original £1.50 for 135 grams, sugar-free. Same price, 80 grams. We're getting less. We're paying the same price. That cannot be right. Why are we being penalised for being healthy? It's sugar-free. It should be cheaper. There's no sugar. Yeah, the other varieties, well, same price. Come on. We can do better than this, supermarkets. Not good.
UK bills are some of the highest in the world. This comparison with the Caribbean really shows how steep living costs have become. Listen to this.
Okay, bills in the Caribbean compared to bills in the UK. Alright, so in the UK you probably pay about £850 for a house rental, then about 120 for gas and electric, 150 for council tax per month, and then you have to pay a TV licence, yes, a licence to have a TV in your house, which is £12 a month. So anyone who's watching this in TT, you can convert that. It's a lot of money a month. Okay, it's a lot of money. What do I pay in the Caribbean though? Well, I pay about £50 every 3 months for electric and about £50 every 3 months for water, and the internet bill is around about the same price as well. So in comparison, month by month, my bills are about 10 times cheaper in the Caribbean compared to what we would pay in the UK. It's absolutely ludicrous. And not only that, we're living in a studio shoebox in England, and they're all houses are just clones and clones and clones of each other.
So do you know what really pisses me off about Aldi? Even though I've just spent 13 quid at the self checkout, they insist on putting the plastic bag through on the till themselves. Like I'm gonna pinch a 50p plastic bag when I'm spending 13 quid. What on earth is this world coming to?
Council tax keeps going up, services keep dropping, and car part prices are insane. This clip shows exactly why Brits feel ripped off every day.
So Rachel Reeves gave us all a statement yesterday telling us what she's going to be investing in to the tune of how much, and that it's not going to cost us a penny more. Now this morning, all over TikTok, in the news, all over Twitter, it's all saying that council tax is going to go up by 5% for the next 5 years. It's a complete speculation, that is. However, council tax was due to go up by 5% every year for God knows how long anyway. It always does. The thing that bothers me is the amount of services that fucking drop. I find it hard to believe that 5% year on year on top of your council tax is justified when you've got council leaders on six-figure salaries. From last year to this year, the numbers that are on six-figure salaries have doubled, which will probably mean from this year to next year, the number of people will fucking double again. And just locally round us, look at this, we've got a car park that used to be 80p an hour, and overnight they decided to up it to £5.30 an hour.
Travel agents are still charging thousands for holidays you could book much cheaper online. Listen to how easy it is to avoid getting ripped off.
I literally cannot get my head around people who spend thousands of pounds on basic holidays because they go to travel agents and they just get absolutely ripped off by them. And this is no fault of their own, it's because they don't know where to look for cheap holidays. And when they do come across a cheap holiday, they think it's a scam, like it's too good to be true. And I'm literally speaking from experience that it's not too good to be true. There's literally websites out there that you can get huge discounts on these holidays. Like, you don't need to book everything through a travel agent. You don't need to go into a travel agent and book it like you used to in the olden days, like where there was no internet and stuff like that. Like, you can literally find your own discounts so easy. Like, my friends and family come to me all the time and they're like, I've just been into TUI, for example, and they've quoted me £7.5 for this holiday. Can you find it cheaper for me? And I'll find it for like £3, just by booking it separately and knowing where to look. So this is literally just like a warning to people that don't go into travel agents and get ripped off. Have a proper look, do your research, and then you've got more money to spend on your holiday.
Groceries in the UK are getting seriously expensive. From snacks to cleaning supplies, even basic items are feeling like rip-offs. Check out these shocking Tesco prices.
Right guys, I'm just in Tesco's. I don't know what's going on, but have you seen the prices just lately? Check this out. £8 for 24 mango tango. £8 for darkberry tango. £8 for apple tango. £8 for orange tango. £10 for 3 tomato ketchups. Say what? £6 for some bog roll. £8.50 for kitchen roll. £14.50 for 24 rolls of Andrex. £8 to do some washing with some comfort. £14 for a pack of surf. £5.50 for 20 Kinder Buenos. Who don't love a Kinder Bueno? £7.50 for 32 packets of crisps. Is that a bargain? Ooh, better phone for you. Reduced to clear. £4. Can even get a 2-man kayak for 200 quid in Tesco's. Cheerios, £2.75 for 540 grams. Now that's a bargain. My boy also said he can drive a trolley one-handed. Look at that. Think he's a good driver? Yeah, I do. Seen these as well. Oreo vanilla latte. Didn't know these were new. £1.50. Bargain. £11 for 24 cans of Coke. Rip off. You can get Pepsi for £10.50. I think that's also a rip off, no? If you're anything like me when you're a kid and love the curly whirly, you get a 5-pack in Tesco's for £1. Bargain. Just on our way out of Tesco's now, having spent 30 quid on absolute shite. Get yourself to Tesco's for a bargain.
Right, folks, New Age Rabsy Nesbitt here. Look, I ate him a lunch, still in scumdy. Now, look at those things. Ginsters. Creamy chicken slice. 100% British chicken. That's probably came from England, so it's probably shite. But actually, it's quite nice, by the way. But you know what? This is what my rant's about. You see us, ginsters? Do you see it? See it, ladies and gentlemen? £2.45 for one bloody well slice. I mean, bloody hell. Wait, you see the size of this. Wait a minute. Open this bastard. Look. Shush. Look at the size of that. That's ridiculous. £2.45 for a ginster. Well, I will tell you, boy, it's prices like that it gets right in my nipple end. So it is. Rip off Britain. Get it right up here.
From energy bills to rail fares, council tax, and even TV licenses, 2024 is starting off with a series of price hikes that are making life in Britain feel even more unaffordable. Listen to this breakdown.
We start the year with an off-gen price cap rise. Of course, January the 1st going up to £1,928 for a typical dual-fuel household. Same day, and you need to know, online platforms are now legally required to record how much money you're making and report it direct to HMRC. Platforms include TikTok, eBay, Vinted, Etsy, Uber, Deliveroo, Fiverr, Airbnb and TaskRabbit. On the 2nd of January, applications are open for free childcare. Working parents of 2-year-olds in England will be able to get 15 hours a week free childcare from April 24, but the applications open 2nd of January. The online self-assessment tax deadline is January 31st. If you miss this deadline, you face a fine of a minimum £100, even if you have no tax to pay. The third and final cost of living payment, £299, drops to most eligible people between February the 6th and February 22nd. You need to have been entitled to a payment for a qualifying benefit between November the 13th and December 12th to get this handout. These are the relevant benefits. There's a rail fares rise on March the 3rd. Regulated rail fares in England will increase by up to 4.9%. On April the 1st, TV licence will be going up to £169.50. On the same day, there's a council tax rise, and unless they get special permission, most authorities will be able to rise council tax by up to 5%. Slough and Thurrock have been told they can make an 8% increase, while Woking was given the go-ahead for a 10% rise. This is to pay for the massive debt that these useless councillors ran up. Finally, and the end of the year, a tax year, that is April the 5th, this is the last day that you can get your tax allowances in before they get reset. So make the most of anything you want to pay in before April the 5th. And that's the start of 2024. Not great, is it?
Ever gone into a store for one thing and left shocked at the bill? One TikToker shows exactly why shopping in Britain is feeling like a full-on financial trauma thanks to soaring prices and taxes on everyday items. Watch this.
Hey guys, happy weekend and all that. Hope everyone's having a good day, good weekend. I went into Tesco's for milk. I literally went into Tesco's for a pint of milk. And I have come out with 80 quid's worth of shopping apparently. I just don't know how they can justify that. 80 quid. It doesn't look like 80 quid's worth of shopping to me. Look. Water, some chicken and bread and potatoes and stuff. Apparently that's 80 quid. It's times like this when I miss being out in Asia. That, not even a full trolley, that like pretty much half a trolley. Yeah, okay, I've spread it out, but technically it's like half a trolley. In most countries in Asia, actually. I was going to say Taiwan, obviously that's where I've been, but that would be less than half of that. That would probably be like 30 quid. Like, unbelievable. Every time I go shopping, I'm just like, come out in shock. It's like traumatic. It's like a traumatic event. I literally come out and I'm like, how have I just spent 80 quid? That's a lot of money. 80 quid? And that won't even last me, like, let me see, what have I got there? I mean, yeah, some of it will last me a week, but, you know, I'll probably need to go shopping again in 3 days. You know, there's certain things that people use more of, isn't there? Like milk and bread and stuff like that. 80 quid though, Jesus. It scares me, that does. And do you know the worst thing? What people don't realise is most of that is tax. That's one thing you start to learn when you do go out of the country, because you're buying the same kind of stuff in different countries for less than half the price. And you think, how can they do that? How can they manage to make money selling it so cheap? And it's not that they're not making a profit, it's that there's no tax on it, or very little. So for example, when I was out in Taiwan, I was buying British made products half the price compared to what it would cost to buy in Britain. I was buying Scottish whiskey for like £15-20 cheaper than it would cost me in Scotland. It's all British tax and VAT and all the rest of it. It's an absolute joke. Absolutely rip off Britain, 100%. It is. It's a rip off. And what are you getting for all that tax? Nothing. So I'm going to go home now and cry, as I've just spent an absolute I wouldn't even spend that in a month. Yeah, that would, do you know what? That's about right, 80 quid. That's about a month's worth for me in Taiwan. I would spend that a month in Taiwan on food. Unless I was going to posh restaurants, but that's not something that I do. So, yes, that is my Saturday night. Go home and cry after spending money on food. Gotta love the UK, eh? What a joke.
So I've just been to Tesco to fuel up, and these prices are absolutely ridiculous. So we are currently paying, on top of this, right, so we pay 53p in tax, fuel, and then 20% on top of that. I remember passing my test back in 2007, and I was paying about 71p, something like that, 71p a litre. That is nearly double. That is nearly double on the unleaded. And diesel is just an absolute joke. My cousin is currently living in Dubai, and they are currently paying about 68p a litre. This is a joke. This is an absolute joke. This country is just taxing us and just robbing us at every opportunity. This is just the fuel. You go into the bloody Tesco store and you are spending a fortune on your shopping now as well. It's getting out of hand. This is getting out of hand. Look, I've put here, just here, what the exchange rate is at the moment for pounds to the Dubai currency. It's a fucking shambles. This is a shambles. This country is just tax, tax, tax. Let me know in the comments what you think. And when you passed your test, what sort of prices were you paying then compared to now? Because this is ridiculous.
So this does not actually make sense to me. I need a passport within 2 weeks. You go online and you can get a 1 week fast track passport, but you've got to drive to like a passport office. So I've drove all the way to Durham from where I live. It's been about 1 hour and 40 to get here, but you don't even get your passport on the day. You have a stupid little appointment and then they send the passport out the day after. It makes no sense. I thought with having this appointment, they just make the passport and give it to you on the day. What's the point in the bloody appointment when you don't even get the passport today? You might as well just do it all online like you do when you get a new passport. And I thought I'd get here a little bit early. I'm 10 minutes early, and the security guard inside said I've got to stand outside until my appointment at 9:10. even though there's like a waiting area inside with like 30 seats. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, what the fuck? But at least I've got a nice little view, a nice little calm river here. Looks pretty cool. Oh well, at least I'm getting a new passport, so I'm going away in 10 days.
Surely I can't be the only person who thinks these gym membership prices are just ridiculous. And quite frankly, it's just broad daylight robbery. Since when and who signed this on behalf of the general public that we have to pay, hear this out, £50 for a basic membership? You heard that, yeah. I'm talking about having access to the facility and using the basic equipment, the bare minimum. Let me say this clearly, I'm not asking no shower, no towel, no sauna, nothing. Just to use, like I said, the basic equipment in the facility. And let me mention this because it needs to be mentioned. And majority of the time, the equipment is outdated. And sometimes, some of the most critical equipment there don't function. You ask the person who works there, they go, we'll look into it, and they put a sign that says, this is broken down, please don't use it. There you go. And you come back next day, it still's broken. But guess what? They want £50, £55. Damn it. Somebody better straighten this shit up because it's bullshit at this point. Thanks.
Ever been tricked into paying more than you thought at the store? This TikToker exposes how some retailers make you a captive audience by hiding prices, forcing shoppers into surprise bills at the till. Take a look.
So according to trading standards law, they really shouldn't be doing it. I've got no idea how they have been getting away with it for so long. So I managed to find this, one of the less confusing breakdowns. The law sets out general requirements, specific rules. The law on price marking states that where goods are offered for sale to consumers, they must have their price clearly indicated. So, Primark, you've got some answering to do. Just don't understand how you can get away with physically removing labels and people only being able to know the price point when they get to the till. And then you become a captive audience, like me, who I'm not going to lie, I was a bit embarrassed to be like, I'm not paying £12 for a t-shirt. So it becomes a captive audience. And from the comments down below, people are genuinely just like letting things scan through. And yes, people can say, that's our problem.